Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
This time, we're taking a look back at 2024 in the Toronto real estate market.
Always lots to unpack there, right?
Right, so we've got TRREB's latest data,
The Market Watch Report.
fresh off the press, from, January 7th, 2025, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
So if you're buying or selling in the GTA this year, this is what you need to know.
This is the stuff that's going to matter.
So 2024, a transitionary year. That's what TRREB is calling it.
Those.
Sales edged up a bit from 2023, but then new listings, they actually jumped way up.
Yeah, that's a big one. That really changes the dynamics, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't just a clear buyer's market or seller's market. It sounds like a little bit of everything was happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really was a mixed bag.
I think we got to talk about interest rates. They were all over the place.
Yeah, how could we not?
Those hikes early in the year, I think it definitely spooked some buyers.
For sure, a lot of people were putting their plans on hold.
But then the Bank of Canada comes in, does a complete 180 dinner see, starts cutting rates towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that was a curveball. Nobody saw that coming.
So what does all this mean for someone who's maybe thinking about buying in 2025? Should they hold out hope for even lower rates, or is that playing with fire?
Well, that is the question, isn't it?
It really is.
If rates keep going down, that could be really good for buyers,
Okay.
right? Borrowing gets cheaper, demand goes up, and that usually pushes prices up too.
Yeah, it's that classic dilemma, wait for lower rates, maybe end up paying more in the long run, jump in now, maybe get a better deal. But with higher rates, it's tough.
Yeah, no easy answers there. It really comes down to each person's situation, right? How much risk are they comfortable with?
Their financial situation, tolerance for risk, all of that.
But understanding how interest rates can impact things, that's crucial for making a good decision.
All right, so let's talk dollars and cents. What happened to the average selling price?
Okay, so TRREB says it dipped a little bit from 2023, ended up at 11,117,600.
Wow, still a lot of money.
Yeah, no kidding.
But is that a little dip, a sign of things to come, or just a fluke?
Well, we got to remember that's an average right across all types of property.
Yeah, detached homes, condos, everything.
Exactly.
So maybe the story's different when you look at those segments separately.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
All right, spill the tea. What happened with detached and condos?
Okay, so detached homes actually saw sales go up last year, and prices stayed pretty stable,
Really?
but condo sales actually went down.
Huh. So different parts of the market reacted differently to everything that was going on.
Totally different stories.
Okay, so why would detached homes be doing better than condos in this, transitionary year, as TRREB calls it?
Well, think back to those interest rate hikes we talked about.
The ones that were making buyers hesitate?
Exactly. Those hikes hit first-time buyers the hardest, right?
Yeah. They're usually the ones looking at condos.
Right. Condos are often seen as that more affordable way to get into the market.
Makes sense.
So without that steady stream of first-time buyers, the condo market really felt the pinch.
Interesting. So detached homes kind of held their ground, but it was condos that took the brunt of those interest rate swings.
Pretty much.
Okay, so one more data point to throw into the mix. December 2024.
Let's hear it.
Sales dipped a bit compared to December 2023, but new listings were up.
So still lots of supply out there.
Yeah, maybe some good news for buyers in early 2025.
Potentially,
Yeah.
especially if those rates keep trending downwards.
Some glimmers of hope amidst the, still high prices.
For sure.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle, and this is where things get really interesting policy changes.
Oh, yeah. Those are the wild cards.
TRREB mentioned some big policy discussions coming up in their February report.
Buckle up. That could shake things up big time.
For real, what kind of policies are we talking about? What's TRREB hinting at?
Well, think about the biggest issues facing Toronto right now.
Okay, let's see. Development policies.
Yeah.
How easy is it to build new homes? Traffic congestion, public transit infrastructure, all that fun stuff.
Exactly. That's all going to impact the real estate market in a major way.
Yeah, those aren't just abstract ideas. They directly affect property values, what neighborhoods are desirable, even how long your commute is.
Absolutely.
So if TRE's hinting at some major policy changes in those areas, that's a game changer.
Game changer for anyone who's thinking about buying or selling in Toronto.
Yeah, that's a cliffhanger right there. We got to wait for that February report.
Yeah, we do. But
Yeah.
that's what makes it so exciting, right?
It's true. I love a good cliffhanger.
So stay tuned.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. 2024, a year of transition shifting markets, interest rate drama, and hints of some big policy changes coming down the pipeline.
It's all happening.
But what does this all actually mean for you, the listener, who's trying to make sense of this crazy market? That's what we're going to explore in the next part of our deep dive, so don't go anywhere.
It's going to be good.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
So before the break, we were talking about how 2024 was a year of adjustment for the Toronto real estate market and all these potential policy changes.
Absolutely. A lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, they could really shake things up for anyone looking to buy or sell in 2025.
For sure. So let's imagine our listener is a first-time buyer.
Okay, someone who's been saving up and they're finally ready to jump in.
Big step, especially in a market like Toronto.
Where do you even start with so much to think about?
Well, for a first-time buyer, those policy discussions around affordability, those are going to be huge.
Things like rent control, maybe.
Exactly. Or incentives for developers to build more affordable units, even zoning changes that allow for different types of housing.
So it's not just about interest rates. It's about understanding how these policies could create opportunities or roadblocks in the year ahead.
That's right. And location is always key.
Nobody wants a killer commute.
Right. So if our listener has their eye on a specific neighborhood, they need to pay attention to what's happening with development.
New subway lines, parks, community centers, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Those can impact their quality of life and potentially their property value down the line.
So for a first-time buyer, staying informed about these policy discussions and development plans, that's like insider knowledge.
Absolutely. It can help them find those hidden gems in neighborhoods they might not have even considered before.
Okay, so what about someone who's thinking of upgrading to a detached home?
Maybe they've outgrown their condo or they're starting a family.
The dream of a backyard barbecue.
Exactly. So those same policy discussions could affect their decision-making too.
In what way?
Well, if they're looking at detached homes, they should pay close attention to potential changes in property taxes or zoning regulations.
Zoning regulations, that sounds complicated.
It basically determines what can and cannot be built in a particular area.
Okay, give me an example.
Say our listener is looking at a detached home in a neighborhood that's zoned for single-family homes only, but then the city changes the zoning to allow for multi-unit dwellings.
Oh, wow, so suddenly the whole character of the neighborhood could change.
Exactly, and that could impact property values.
So these policy decisions, they can have these ripple effects that go beyond the immediate changes.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to stay informed.
So whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to upgrade, those policy discussions could make or break your real estate dreams.
Absolutely, and let's not forget about those who are thinking of selling their property.
Right. What about the folks who are ready for a new chapter?
For them, timing is everything.
Makes sense.
If there are new incentives for first-time buyers coming up, that could boost demand, drive up prices.
So a good time to sell.
Exactly. But on the other hand, if policy changes make it harder to build or increase costs for homeowners, that could have the opposite effect.
So sellers need to be just as informed as buyers.
Absolutely. They need to understand how these changes might impact demand and ultimately what their property is worth.
It's all about strategy and anticipating those policy shifts.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked about buyers, sellers, policy changes, but we can't forget about interest rates. They're still a big wild card.
Oh, for sure. They drive affordability and buyer sentiment.
Like even with great policies and new developments, if rates are too high, people might not be able to afford anything.
Exactly. It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious cake, but your oven's broken.
Love that analogy.
Interest rates are the oven.
Without them at the right level, nothing else works.
Exactly. So keeping an eye on interest rates is just as important as those policy discussions.
Both play a crucial role in shaping the Toronto real estate market.
Absolutely.
So as we head into 2025, lots to watch. Policy changes, interest rates, and how they all interact to create opportunities and challenges for everyone.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
It's a complex landscape, but the more you understand, the better decisions you can make.
That's what it's all about, making informed choices.
Okay, we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dives, but the big question is, what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this crazy market? That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Stick with us.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking all about the Toronto real estate market, and it's clear 2025 is going to be another wild ride, just like 2024 was.
Absolutely. And we've got those shifting market trends, the interest rate roller coaster, and those big policy changes TRREB keeps hinting at.
Right, so much to think about. But we've also explored how all those factors could impact, different types of buyers and sellers in the Toronto market.
Whether you're a first-time buyer thinking about upgrading, downsizing, it's all about understanding how those ripple effects could create either opportunities or challenges.
So let's bring it all home. If you were advising someone right now on buying or selling in Toronto in 2025, what would be your top piece of advice based on everything we've talked about?
That's a good one. I think my top advice would be don't get caught up in the short-term noise. you know.
Like, don't freak out about every little headline.
Exactly. Yes, current conditions are important, but what really matters is understanding those long-term trends and how those policy discussions could, really reshape everything.
I love that it's about thinking strategically, not just reacting to every little thing that pops up.
Right. It's like playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, you got to think a few moves ahead.
Exactly. Think about where you see yourself in 5, 10 years and use that vision to guide your decisions now, whether you're buying or selling.
That's a great point. It's not about trying to time the market perfectly.
Right. Nobody can do that.
It's about making informed decisions that help you reach your goals.
And that means doing your research, reading TRREB's reports, really diving into those policy discussions when that February report comes out.
And talk to the experts.
Absolutely. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, even city planners, they can give personalized insights to help you navigate this market.
Right. Knowledge is power, especially in a market as crazy as Toronto's.
The more you understand, the better equipped you'll be to make smart decisions.
Exactly. And remember, this deep dive, it's just the starting point.
We're just giving you the tools and insights to feel confident and empowered.
You got to take that next step yourself.
Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, in the world of Toronto real estate, knowledge is your best investment.
That's a great way to put it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive.
My pleasure.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic that matters to you. Until then, happy house hunting.